Yo, what's up, people? Today is 9/14/2022, and I wanted to go over um, Euro dollar today and just kind of show you what I was looking at today. There was no trade placed or anything, but I was kind of watching the market. And for those of you learning ICT concepts, I like to do what ICT talks about, where he says, where do you think the market is likely to go to next, right? So after I've done my weekly and daily analysis, so we already know from the daily here, it bounced off a daily and weekly area right there. And then in the 240 minute, let me expand that here. You can see that we just headed straight down. We knocked off a lot of sell stops here. A lot of areas. Was a fair value gap right here in this area. And then it left a liquidity void. Now, if you don't know what liquidity void is, that's just something ICT talks about. Um, I'm still trying to, I'm still learning also from my end and just more terms besides just the ICT mentorship 2022 that he talks about. But anyways, what we have now, what we're left with here is a brand new range area. So I drew my fib from this high to this low, and so we have a range. And so I figured that today would have been more of a bullish day, and that was kind of what I wanted to see. I wanted the market to, during news, to take out these relative equal lows here on the 240 minute and be ready to buy it to, get it up, at least somewhere, above these highs or around that 50% retracement. And so let me go ahead and show you what happened, what actually happened. Because things don't always, are as what they seem to be. And so this is my Asia session here. London session is green, and then blue is my New York session. For my lower time frames, I have it a little bit different color coded. Well, the only difference is New York, which is gray. Yeah, I got used to that. But anyways, you can see during Asia session, market rallied. London session, it came down, and then it rallied. It took out. It definitely took out Asia session high. At the start of New York session, it had already taken out the previous high here, and then also we go to a 15-minute time frame. You'll actually see that clearer where it actually went up into a fair value gap. Now, on the 60-minute, there's no fair value gap here. Unless you jump to the 240-minute, you can see there is this gap here where the market traded up into. If we go to the 15-minute, the 60-minute is just a candle that went down and it went up. But you can see that that's exactly where the market came into. I would consider this a fair value gap because this is all, these up candles are all order blocks here. And so this is where the market came right there. It stopped dead at its tracks and it started going lower. And so I figured at that point, I usually don't come in until around 8 a.m. Eastern, and then I start, taking a peek at what's happening, and I wait for news. So at 8:30, it wasn't anything big or anything. We didn't even get down to this level. I figured it's always that question as to where market is likely to go to, and definitely this was my first area of interest, and then you can see the market. So it did take out this London session high here, right? We went straight back down, and so we were left with a few open gap areas, and I'm going to actually draw them out here. So we're left with this one and this one. So during news, the market took out sell stops here, right? And then it rallied back up into this area to rebalance right here. Actually, it had already rebalanced here. So you can see that it took out sell stops, and then we took out buy stops here. And then if we go to the 5-minute, you can see that a lot better. You can see that we actually did get a setup here. This is an ICT setup, right? Especially the way I like to see it, as anywhere from 2 to 3 candles. There it is. There's 1, 2, 3. However, unfortunately, it never got up to this fair value gap. And when it comes to my rules, I know that this candle here is higher. But ICT mentions when this happens, do not pay attention to the wicks, pay attention to the bodies of the candle. And so this is the one I'm looking at here. If you draw a fib from here to there, you can see it did hit 50% retracement, but it didn't get up into the fair value gap. And so this is why I don't take the trade. If it doesn't get up to that fair value gap, then unfortunately I'm just going to miss the trade. And then you can see that market came down. We took out, or actually after 10 a.m., you can see it finally went down. We took out relative equal lows here. There was a bit of a few stops here where the market would have been able to get down into. Actually, no, not these here. This was taken out by this area here. It would be these on this side. So these two lows and this low would be the relative equal lows. These are the ones that got taken out by this particular candle during news. And then so anyways, so we're looking at this candle here, and then these two wicks right there. Those are relative equal lows. After 10 a.m. Eastern, the market ran through that, and then, you know, before it headed higher. What's crazy is that, so I didn't get the entry here, and then you can see on the 2-minute that actually would have been a good entry. Once again, this is already past 10 a.m. After that, I'm no longer interested in doing anything, especially because the only news events was at the 8:30 a.m. Eastern, and by then at this point I'm not interested anymore. Unless there was some news around the 10 a.m. Eastern, then I would have been interested in this particular trade. But even then, you can see that it doesn't have the mustard to get down into those double equal lows, right? And you can see that because of there's no news, all it did is we took out New York session lows. And by the way, this session here that I have here gray, and then here's pink, this is London session PM close, a London session close. I like to draw that out because that is a new session, and then there's obviously New York session as well. For my New York session, I have it as brown, so it starts at 1:30 Eastern time, and that's what ICT talks about. That's when you want to come back to the market. This is by the way before lunchtime and after London session close. But anyways, so you can see during the London session close, it takes out New York session lows right here, and that's what represented by these green lines. Those green lines are very important for me. I want the green lines, red, and the orange ones, which are the weekly levels, are the ones that I want to see for liquidity pools to be taken, and then I look for setup. You can see right here it did take it out, and then if we go up back into the 15-minute, you can see, oops, go back, you can see that we took out sell stops here, we took out New York session low, we went right back up, and we took out what, buy stops right here, and then it created a fair value gap right there, and you can see the market coming into this area. The only issue with this is that it's already lunchtime, and I mean, even myself and my own rules, I only trade after 10. I only trade before for New York session, and that's pretty much it. I don't trade anything before 10 a.m. Eastern. Is what I was trying to say. And so, plus there was no news either, right? But what I'm doing here is I want to show you guys how you can continue to study ICT even after the session is over, right? Just because the session over doesn't mean, it stops, right? Because the algo is always working. It's always doing its thing or whatever it has to do, right? And so you can see it's very, it's been quite a bit of a sloppy delivery, but you can see that even if its own sloppiness, you can kind of see where it's going to go after. And as you kind of develop, you kind of begin to see this. And like I said, it still takes me a little bit to be able to see that. But you know, you can see that it's developing. It doesn't mean that just because I see it, I'm gonna take the trade, right? I still have to abide by my own rules, what I know and what I've back tested previously, right? But I love to see that it freaking works. And so you can see that once again, right? We go to this fair value gap. And so to me, now this is bullish. This would have been a buy opportunity. And so the target would be above New York highs, or this this other 15-minute fair value gap, which it has to get up to. So that's first target there. That also takes out New York session highs. And then obviously we have this area here where it'll take out. If it does, then it's definitely going to move towards probably tomorrow to pretty much go through all this liquidity void and be able to, you know, get in here. And it's gotta get rebalanced, this whole area. And I do feel tomorrow's gonna be probably bullish, and as we get to the ending session, maybe it may get bearish. But yeah, Thursday, Friday, we'll see how that develops. Otherwise, for now, I'm definitely looking at this, and I can see that moving higher. And so, yeah, like I said, I'm not in this trade, but you know, because my trading session is done with. But it's just, like I said, once more, right? It's really cool to just be able to look at this and see the algorithm deliver. You know, although sloppy, it's a little bit sloppy. It's delivering. It shows you a roadmap, right? There's no. Although we don't know exactly what can happen, but you can see that it'll kind of give you the clues, and it'll do what it has to do with a bit of precision, a bit of what's the word I'm looking for? You know, just you knowing and anticipating which way the market's gonna go. And so I just find that pretty awesome. And you know, you can see here on the 2-minute time frame. By the way, I bet you anything, if I draw a fib from here to there, it might be really close to that 50%. Yep, there it is, 50%. That would be an area. I have my 30-second open. I don't use it, but once again, right, it's all about learning and watching it. You can see setups sometimes happen in the 30-second even, you know, in these time zones. And I bet you anything, if I draw another fib from here to there, it's another 50% from here. And you can see those are really good opportunities if I was, you know, if I was used to it. And once I'm finished doing backtesting on a lot of these things that I look at, I'm going to be a lot more comfortable in being able to take these type of trades and being okay with it. But, you know, once again, this is, number one, it's out of my trading session. And number two, this is very, I feel to me, since my style is very conservative, obviously this is very aggressive. But you can see them, you know, when things are aligned, they're working. And I think that, once again, right, that's what's pretty cool about it. But anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. So far things are just going through the motions, and still waiting for my own opportunities, and we'll see how it goes. Thanks for watching.